What's up everyone, Plowman is here. And today I want to talk about success and what success means to you. There's different forms of success. There's relationship, there's happiness, there's wealth, and there's health. And all of them can be achieved in a certain level according to how consistent you are. And that's what it comes down to, is how consistent you really are. So you have to learn all the good things when it comes to these four topics. Now there are many other topics that could define your own success, but I'm going to talk about these today. And you have to just consistently do it every day. Don't do it once or twice. This has to become a daily ritual, just like waking up and brushing your teeth or waking up and pooping. That's how you have to work when it comes to your relationships, your happiness, your wealth, and your health. And the reason why is when you stop, if you don't do it, then you won't be successful. Now, it's gonna be kind of hard because you could make mistakes and you can become consistent in making these mistakes. I hear it all the time when it comes to especially relationships, businesses, your health. You have to be able to recognize it and stop it and keep that consistency going. Now, how can you apply some consistency to these four things? Well, let's talk about relationships first. So let's say you have a girlfriend. What would make her happy? Typically, just stereotypical positive things you can do for a girlfriend is buy her flowers every so often. Especially if she actually likes flowers. That'll show her that you went out of your way to buy her flowers. Maybe you want to take her to dinner somewhere. Maybe you want to do some kind of activity. On the other hand, if you have a boyfriend, what does he like to do? Have you thought about maybe the next day could be something that he wants to do rather than what you want to do? What if your boyfriend is the kind of person that likes to stay in and play video games? So maybe play video games with him. That would mean a lot, especially because most guys love playing video games. And those are just some examples when it comes to relationships. But the thing is, you can't just do it once. You have to be okay with this thing. This is what makes the other person happy, and you have to do it consistently over and over again. I'm not gonna say do it every day, but do it every so often when you think it's time to do it, so that you can show them that you care and you want them to be happy as well. And next up, we have happiness. Happiness is very special. It's its own thing, and it's really hard to achieve because you can't always be happy, and that's because we're just human and we go through so many emotions, and things change, and you will change throughout time. So maybe something from before made you happy, but now it doesn't make you happy. You have to be able to recognize that and get out of any toxic cycles that prevent you from being happy. So if that's trying new things that you're usually not open to, maybe you should try new things. You might discover that something could be your next hobby, and it could just totally make you very happy for some length in time. This could also apply to relationships. If you're not happy with a relationship and you've tried to fix it and it's just not working that way, life is too short to stay unhappy. You should, I would say, get out of that relationship so you can go after your own happiness and see what you can achieve with it. Now, things as far as that gets more complicated because depending on how old you are, what obligations you have, and I'm just speaking to people who don't have too much responsibilities right now. They don't have children. They're not tied to a person because they have to. It's like they're in that young part of their life trying to figure out who is compatible with them and if it'll work out. So keep that in mind and watch out and pay attention to certain things in your relationship that might not make you happy, and will those things change in the long run. Because if there's something that is really bothering you, and you know that this thing might just be the way it is for the rest of your life or for the next 5 to 10 years, well, can you handle it, or are you going to have to get out? There's different kinds of wealth. Wealth comes in either, like, generally what I'm going to talk about is monetary value. So how much money a person has and how successful their business is, just for them to achieve a type of lifestyle that where they earn enough money to be happy because they're not missing out on certain things, or they can't afford to buy certain things. They will be able to afford to buy most things without going overboard. I'm not saying, hey, if you become a billionaire, but there's only so much wealth that will make you successful. It's what you do with it as well. But let's say you're someone who doesn't have so much money and you want to work on your wealth. Well, that depends which route you want to go. If you want to go the route where you get a job, you start a career, depending on that position, you might be able to work your way up, or you might even have to go through schooling. And going through school is its own challenge of consistency, of having to deal with homework assignments, all these things that will eventually lead up to the point where you're qualified enough to get a decently earning job to get wealth. But now let's say you're running your own business. I personally know that when you're trying to start up your own thing, if you stop, that's the end. You have to work on it almost every single day. You have to pretend like it's your real job. Even if at first you're not making any money, this can be any sort of business. This could be you're a 15-year-old kid that decided to make their own t-shirt Etsy, and you can be successful from that. I'm not gonna say do that. First example on the top of my head is you have to be creating quality content. You have to be able to market somehow. You gotta figure out these things. You have to do your research. This applies to starting any business, and eventually if you keep consistently marketing, you keep consistently improving your product, making quality product or content, then eventually you could become wealthier in that. Lastly, and this one I think is very important, I feel like this applies to your relationships, your happiness, and your wealth, and it's your health. You have to make sure you can keep yourself healthy, and not just physically but mentally as well. Today in 2018, so many people suffer from depression, and a lot of the times, for many years, they don't do anything about it because they just don't acknowledge it. They don't have enough time to treat it. Some people could be suffering from anorexia. They could be overweight. Some people can just be out of shape in general. And focusing on your health and knowing how to improve your health could eventually lead to becoming happier, wealthier, and having stronger relationships. And I can make a whole nother episode on what health means to a person and how you should actually treat your body. But anyway, try to think about this when you have some free time. Take a moment, think about what you want to be successful in, and instead of hoping that it will happen, start trying to make it happen step by step. And as you do that, every day, little by little, you're constantly getting closer to your goal, and you're getting better at being consistent. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you could please like, subscribe, and then hit that notification button so you know that I made another video in the near future, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.